Hey, dear Tyler, good morning. How are you doing? How are you? How have you been? How has your week been? I'm trusting that you are doing good. I'm trusting that everything is going fine. Um, I'm trusting that the year is presenting itself in a very nice way for you. Uh, thank you so much for your feedback for last week's episode. I'm really glad that it was able to help you. The whole talk about discipline. I'm really, really glad that it was able to help you. Um, you know, for me, one of the things that I decided, okay, it's a new year, right? And January is the first month of the year. And I just felt like it would be really, really important, to dedicate this month um, to just share about making plans, putting things into perspective, setting goals, targets, and all. Just really being able to create a sort of a system that helps you make the rest of the year productive, right? So a lot of the things that we'll be discussing would really reflect this theme, right, for the whole of January, right? So I just decided that that's um, most important for now, right? And also most beneficial. So this is why we're really talking about a whole lot of plans, how to become more disciplined, how to set certain things, structure things, yeah, right? So I really, really do believe that it's helping you out, and that the other things that I'd be sharing within the remaining part of the month would also have a positive effect on you and help you through it, right? So today's topic, right? Today's theme is: am I still in 2021? Am I still in 2021? Remember last week I spoke about, the hype being all over, and because um, when after the hype, after the whole festivities and celebrations, especially when you go back into things like routine, right? The first episode of the year I spoke about routine, especially when you go back to things that are routine. Maybe you work somewhere, right? You're an accountant and you have to go back to balancing books. You are an IT expert and then you have to go back, to checking networks, securing networks and all. You're a teacher and you're going back to the class. You've taught these things for years, right? It just makes it look like nothing actually really changed. Nothing actually really changed. Um, and it's like, wait, so what really happened? What really happened? So for most people, right, the most significant change in the new year is just the date, right? Just the date of the year itself. So for most people, it's just that transition, that the end of your date move from 2021, right, to 2022. Um, Apart from that, nothing really happens to a lot of people, right? In reality, right? In truth, every new year is just the continuation of a previous year. It's just the numbers that really, really do change. Numbers that really, really do change. Um, it's the it's the same route to work that you're going to. Probably the same tasks that you're asked to do, apart from maybe if you were given a promotion, maybe you were changed um, to a different department, right? But it's basically the same thing that you're doing, right? What you did last year is what you're doing this year, basically. Now, that's it for a lot of people. A lot of people. And then you come up and they'll be like, and what's special about the year? What's special about the year? Um, So, like I said, in truth, every new year is the continuation of the previous year unless something different is done. Unless something different is done. Now, I'm a science student, was a science student, rather, right? So, in high school, secondary school, right? Um, I did physics, chemistry, biology, math. the science courses and all. But in my second phase of university, I went into like the social sciences, behavioral sciences rather. So, but I still do have that knowledge of physics, right? And so there's this law in physics, Newton's law of motion, right? I don't know if it's the first, second, or third, but I think it's the first law of motion, the law of inertia, right? So it says that a body remains in a state of rest or uniform motion until acted upon by an external force, right? I remember growing up, this was really, really hard to understand, to grasp, to even cram, because they're laws, right? You can't say it in your own words and quote their laws like that. So, so back to it. So, a body remains in a state of rest or uniform motion until acted upon by an external force. So it means that an object is going to stay stationary until a force comes over that moves it away from that position. Or if something is moving, right, it's going to move in that same direction, it's going to move in that with that same speed, hypothetically, right, until something else acts on it. So it either stops it in its tracks, right, or keeps it, or maybe, kind of like pushes it further, right, pushes it further. So you've got a pen, right? You've got a pen on your desk, pen on your table. That pen is going to stay stationary until a force, which is your hand, right, or an action picks it up. That action of picking it up, right, picks it up. You picking it up, right? Otherwise, absolutely nothing's going to happen. That barrier is going to stay there. That pen is going to stay there. Your chair in the office, at work, in school, wherever it is, right? Your chair is going to be in its exact position until you come over and you draw it. If an action is not taken on an object, nothing happens, nothing changes. Nothing changes. It's like, for those of us that drive cars, right? You're driving and maybe you're coming to a stop sign. As long as your legs, right, as long as your feet are on the accelerator, on the throttle, the car is going to keep on moving forward. So in order to make the car to stop, what you have to do is that you have to introduce another action that opposes the previous action, and that is, stepping on the brakes. And so once you step on the brakes, another action happens to the tire where your brake pads now clamp on the wheels, right, and then reduces the speed, therefore slowing it down until you get to a stop, right? So you're going to consistently move in a certain motion until you introduce another action to stop that motion, right? So and if you notice, there's a way that if you step on the brakes, with so much force, there's a movement that happens. There's a movement that happens. It's just a reaction to the change of forces that are happening, right? So take the year like that. Nothing is really going to change about a year until you put in things that or until you begin to act certain things outright, until you begin to do things, activities, right, that were different from last year. So if nothing is initiated, right, nothing changes. If nothing is initiated, nothing changes. What makes a day different is not just a desire, but an informed action towards that dream, right? Or towards that day, rather, right? Your desire for a better life is not going to be enough to create the better life for you. It could create it in your mind, right? It could create that picture, right, for you, that the mental picture for you, right? So that's the best your desire can do. But then it's your action that actually helps that mental picture become a physical reality, right? There's a part of scripture that says that faith without works is dead, right? There has to be an application of an action to bring to pass that desired dream, right? Scripture says that these signs shall follow them that believe. So the signs are mandated to follow your action because you believed, right? So you believed something and therefore you acted on it, then the sign itself, it follows. And that's how life is, right? So and it's not just because you're taking action. It has to be informed actions, right? It has to be informed actions. That's why it's very, very important that your mind is renewed, right? So I'm using a whole lot of scriptural terminologies, but there's a whole lot of change of mindset. There's a change of mindset for you. Paradigms are changed. You can't carry the same knowledge of last year and apply it to certain things and expect different results. It's not going to happen. So most times, a lot of people find out that they are engaged in a whole lot of actions, right? They're doing a lot, but then getting the same results of last year. Is because they're carrying the same information of last year and trying to engage it into something different, something new. You want to change something in you, so you've got to change your mind. You've got to change the information that you have that will create that new reality. You can't carry yesterday's thoughts into tomorrow's destiny. I just came up with that. I don't know if it really makes sense, but I hope that it does. Right? So it's really, really important. Until you take or make the required action, until you take the required action rather, nothing changes. Really, nothing changes. The year is not going to be great because you wish it's going to be great. Oh, 2022, pity me, I suffered last year. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. The dates will just be changing, the numbers will be going, the days will be going by, and it's still the same you of last year. So, this is what you should do, Tyler. Like I said, that this month we're just using it to help ourselves to get into the perspective, to get ourselves into the right mood, the right structure, and all. And it should help. It should help, right? For the remaining part of the year. So fix yourself internally. Mindset, thoughts, beliefs, before attempting anything externally, right? So remember the very first episode of the year, I spoke about the importance of retreats and what you should do during a retreat and how reviews happen, right? So if you had done it right, then you should be able to have these answers. If not, you could always go back to the episode, the very first episode of the year, and listen. I gave a little briefing on it. But anyway, when you do your review, you come up with honest, you come up with honest conclusions about why things didn't work out in certain areas within the last year or within the last phase or however it is. You come up with very, very concise reasons, right? And it's those reasons that would help you know what needs to be adjusted, right? Now that adjustment, first of all, happens in your mind because these are habits that you've built over time, right? So when you change your mindset, maybe you had this financial issue last year, right? And you found out that, wow, I didn't know how to save, I spent a lot, right? So you have to build up proper knowledge about saving and the reduction of spending, right? Reducing expenses. until your mind agrees that saving is beneficial and reducing expenses or reducing expenditure, right? Going for what you actually need, right, is valuable, right? It will be very difficult for you to actually act out that saving and reduce your expenditure, right? So, come to terms with it mentally that saving helps, right? Then build the structures and then act on it. It's going to be very, very hard. This is something that happened to me. And in Dear Tyler here, right? I'm absolutely honest with you. I do not hide stuff, right? One of the things I had a good financial year in quote last year, but then I'm basically starting at the basic levels again because I had these very issues that I spoke about, right? Poor saving culture and bad expenditure, right? I really spent a lot of money within a very short period of time for good causes too, but they were more trigger conscious, right? So let's just do it. Now, I saved quite a lot of money on PiggyVest. PiggyVest is the app that I use in saving, right? And they have an option, normal savings, you've got your target savings, and then they've got this savings feature called SafeLock. Now, wouldn't it be wise if I really want to save to use SafeLock? Because if I put it on SafeLock, there's absolutely nothing I could do to get the money until the time for me to get the money comes. I would have saved a lot and helped myself throughout a whole lot of things at the beginning of the year if I had used the SafeLock feature. But then I had this mindset, what if an emergency comes up? Because I wanted to spend. So what I am doing now is learning the value of saving, right? And seeing that money being saved is an advantage to me, right? And so once my mind can accept that, it's easier for me to live it out, right? So that's what I'm working on. So money now that I'm receiving, when I put it on PiggyVest, I'm going to put it in a SafeLock. The reason is that having it in the SafeLock keeps me from breaking it at any point in time, right? And make it an unbreakable SafeLock. And with whatever money I have left, it makes me a lot more prudent because I do not have easy access to the savings. Do you understand? But then I'm knowing that every time when I save in the SafeLock or save on the app or however it is, it's beneficial to me. And it also builds my discipline in spending. Do you understand? So until you have achieved this internally, right, it's going to be very, very hard for you to do it externally, right? So find out the beliefs that you need to change or things that you need to adopt rather. Find out the things that you need to work on, different, just generally. In business, I also found out something that the money you've made is better than the money you could have made. I lost a lot of money with the expectation of making more than taking what I had already made, right? So it's important. Take what you have made, cut your losses quickly, right? Take what you have made and, live to fight another day, right? Live to fight another day, right? So these are things, just generally, I hope that it helps, right? So don't just leave the date 2021 behind. Also leave the habits, the characters, and the mindset. As you have adopted a new date, adopt new habits. Do the same thing, right? Don't just say bye-bye to 2021 but you've carried your life of 2021 into 2022. No. Though you've adopted a new year, right? Adopt new strategies, adopt new dealings. Unless they are procedures, that are, general for living, or maybe things in your business that are just procedural. Yes, there are probably better ways of doing it. Do you understand? Yes, so there are things that you can still look out into, right? But the most important thing is that if you want to change in your life, then you have to act the change. The first change has to happen internally, and then it now navigates into um, the energy that you'd use to be able to change physically, right, externally, right? So I really hope that these words were able to motivate you and help you, Tyler. I really hope that they blessed you. Right, so let's take action, right? Let's take action. Let's take action today, right? Make that decision that you're going to take action. Make that decision that you're going to take action, right? So remember that I love you, I believe in you, and I'm always rooting for you, right? Thank you, and do have a lovely day. Do have a lovely day.